do there.
Can we make this bigger?
Nice.
Oh, I guess we're not doing the countdown today.
No
We're just
countdown.
going live.
Hey, we're live!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Top of Mind with Ann and Rachel. My name is Rachel Prophet, and I'm a white woman with long red hair. My pronouns are she, her, and my hair is down today. I'm wearing my rose-colored glasses, as always, and I'm wearing a gray Disability at Microsoft shirt today, and I've got my badge on and a little clicker for my dog, Oberon, who might come on screen at some point.
Yes.
I don't know. His name's Oberon. He is an Irish Wolfhound who is Wheaton. So that's his accessible introduction in case he shows up.
His pronouns are he, him.
His pronouns are he, him. He's super awesome. Ann, do you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Ann Krupke. I'm a senior product marketing manager at Microsoft. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a white woman with, now that I'm looking at myself next to you, very dark brown hair with a black long sleeve shirt on. And that's it. I think that's it for the intro. And Molly, welcome.
Special guest. We have a very special guest
Very
today.
special guest.
I feel honored to be here. All the special goes back to these two ladies and all that they've done at DynamicsCon Live this week. My name's Molly Fuchsel. I'm the president at Dynamics User Group. Also, our company hosted DynamicsCon Live, which we just finished. I am pronouns she, her. I am a white woman, long blonde hair, and in a bright pink suit with a red undershirt. Am I missing anything in the description?
You did great.
That would be
That was
helpful?
awesome.
Okay. That is me. You can't miss me.
Thank you so much for joining us, Molly. And I think we mentioned this when we talked yesterday, but you have the distinction of being the first ever repeat guest on Top of Mind with Ann and Rachel, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. No, that is a true fact.
Oh, well, back. Thank you so much, ladies. It's an honor to be your first repeat guest. Thank you both. That means so much. Thank you. Thank you.
We're happy to have you. Rachel, do you want to do the honors?
So, Molly, what's top of mind?
Well, this community conference was amazing. And I'm biased, so I'm going to say it's amazing. But
I'll second that motion.
oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I really want to hear about how it went for these two incredible women next to me because they had such an integral part in what we did this week and what we accomplished for community. And so I'm going to bounce it right back to both of you, whoever wants to answer first.
Sure, I'd be happy to go first. So, we're here in the Mile High City, my hometown in Denver,
Yes.
Colorado. And one, it was really cool to be able to have a conference in your hometown. Like, that's so
Absolutely.
weird
For
and
sure.
rare, especially for me. Like, I don't think there's ever been a conference here in Denver. So thank you for bringing it here.
Oh, wow, look at that.
And I think the networking experiences this week were amazing. I feel like I have been in nonstop answering question mode, which is it's a good thing. Like,
Yes.
even though it's exhausting and I love doing it,
Yes.
love doing it, it means that a lot of people showed up with their questions and hopefully a lot of people went away with their questions answered.
100%.
I did 3 sessions this week and had packed rooms. I've been able to ask a ton of people, met a lot of new people because we had a ton of newcomers
Yes.
this year.
Yes.
So always great to meet new people and talk with them. And I think everybody that I have asked has said that it's been an amazing conference.
Oh, thanks.
We
How about
did-
you, Ann?
We did do a poll in my final session today.
Oh, good.
And I said, raise your hand if this was the best week ever. And it was a unanimous
Oh.
vote.
I like your
there you
polls.
go.
I need to embrace more of your polling skills than my own. How was the food? I'll stop, opening with that.
No, you got to start with the thing they must agree with.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I like it.
It has been an amazing week. I'm just blown away by what you guys were able to achieve, by the community that turned out, and honestly by everybody who was involved. I don't know if we've shared this with the viewers, but I was on the F&O programming committee this year, so for the first time.
Yes.
Also, you won an award.
Yes, I was gonna bring that. Okay, yes. Just to be clear, so I am sitting next to 2 DynamicsCon Doug Community Superhero Award winners, and they both actually won the same award. Excuse me. They both won the Diversity and Inclusion Award, and that was nominated and voted on by the Dynamics User Group community, or the greater community in our space. Rachel won it last year in
2
2022.
years ago.
2 years, excuse
She
me.
was the inaugural winner.
Yes, she was the inaugural winner when we first announced it in 2022, and then Anne won it this year in 2024. So, oh my gosh, this is
so
quite
grateful.
a couch.
Well, last year's winner was Taylor Dorward,
Yes.
and he had the honor of
He did
giving
present
you-
me the
Yes.
award, which was really special.
Really special.
I love that. No, I think, I don't know. I really appreciate the recognition. I think the community awards are such a wonderful way to highlight what different people are doing in the community. And like, I think on the topic of diversity and inclusion, I think Doug does such a great job creating an inclusive space. And then I also really enjoyed the Tech Fluent charity gala.
Yes.
I thought that was a wonderful opportunity. I saw lots of current or former Tech Fluent grads, as well as the Tech Fluent staff was here in full force throughout the conference and, of course, at the gala. Like, it was great to see the community awareness increase on Tech Fluent, which we've talked about several times before on this show. So just like, what a wonderful event, what a wonderful group of people, what a success. Like, I don't really know what else to say.
So do you know, like, what was the final count of attendees? Like,
Don't,
what
which
you got
is terrible.
up
I
to?
probably should. The last I checked yesterday, it was 1,504, so 1,504. So it would be interesting to see, because when I went up to the registration desk today, and this is just where we are at, I think, and where we're moving forward to, is people were even coming on site today to register for the last day. So
Wow.
yes,
That's cool.
So I'm excited to share the final number once we get back home. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And that
fantastic.
is like almost triple last year's attendance.
almost triple last year's attendance. So
It's amazing.
Wow.
I love to see the community grow, but still have that kind of small knit community feel.
yeah. So if you guys don't mind, that would be an interesting conversation. How much time do we have, by the way?
How much time we want?
I mean,
normally we do about a half an hour.
Okay, I was gonna say I could talk all night long, especially with these two. I got to
I
sit
got
down
a
with these
plane to
two.
catch,
Oh,
so-
you do. That's right. All right, we'll use
probably
that.
stick to about half an hour.
Last year, so I have to call this out because I think it's really important for our conversation today. Anne was one of the first people to recognize last year that it's such an intimate feel and everyone loves it, but how are you going to keep it that way when in 2024, this year, this week, you're going to grow? Anne said you're going to get a lot bigger really fast. How do we keep this really intimate feel?
Yeah.
And I think, Rachel, you acknowledged that last year. I think we've acknowledged that in a lot of different places and throughout the year. And that's such a happy obstacle to have. And my feedback this year, and I think I want to dive a little deeper into one-on-one conversations after the event, but is that they still felt that, even though it wasn't 650 people this time. So So I think it's, again, our happy challenge as we go to Chicago next year.
Yeah, Chicago. Go sign up now. Early bird pricing.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Early bird
Is there like
pricing.
a
Is the
short
web
link?
price updated?
It is. Yep. So the website has the early bird pricing on it. We encourage people this week to register while it's top of mind.
I love that.
So
So the website is live.dynamicscon.com, right?
Yes. Yes,
Awesome.
it is.
And we
yes.
can come back and put it in the notes or the chat or the
Comments.
words,
Words.
when we're done being live. So that I had something I wanted to about the community spirit. Like I definitely felt like it's 100% still there, and I saw it. The thing that I thought was amazing. So I had 3 sessions, and I sat in like 4 or 5 additional sessions.
Good.
And of course, I'm finance and operations. That's kind of where I stay. But the engagement we had, like even in this last one, we had like 45, 50 people come to our Ask the Experts.
Second to last session of the last day, by the way.
I know. That's like really great
Yes.
turnout. Consistent with previous days turnouts to things. And we had some of my other committee members helping answer questions. We had users helping users answer
Awesome.
questions. We had partners jumping in. So, Nicole and I were up there moderating. Rachel helped answer some
Oh,
finance
Rachel.
questions. Like it was, and every single session I went to was this like collaborative,
Oh, I love that.
like everybody was teaching and learning at the same time. It was so cool.
Good.
Like,
Good.
and that to me was the sign that we kept it. We kept the
we
vibe
have the
of like,
feels. Yes.
we don't have barriers. We're not here in a silo just to be learners. We're here to collaborate and communicate. And 100% felt like
Oh,
it was there all week
good.
long.
So is there a personal goal that each of you were hoping to get out of this week that was maybe just unique to either of you?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah. What was yours?
I think, right, my personal goal this week was to have an opportunity, and specifically because I don't get a lot of opportunity to interact with BC folks.
Oh, yes.
So because I'm in the F&O space as well,
Sure.
and I very intentionally wanted to try to get some BC
Good for you.
partners and MVPs aware of what we're doing with our business process catalog.
Awesome.
And I smashed my personal goals, like in terms
Excellent.
of like people who are interested, and I've already got like 6 meetings set up next week to talk with people
great.
who are interested in contributing and collaborating. So that
You
was
hit your personal goal.
I did.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Did it? I hope that just like the space you're more familiar with the FNSC now, the BC crew was very welcoming to you and happy to connect and just take that further beyond the conference.
They absolutely were.
Yeah.
And I think everybody that I talked to about like my own personal initiative that I work on every day at Microsoft was excited about it. You know, they had positive things to say about it. And even if they had feedback or things that they'd like to see changed, it was still very positive.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes it's like it's easy to allow it to become like a negative, but it was still like
that makes sense.
It was still positive, and let's build this thing and make it better together because they see the value of what we're building for the community. And I think a big part of what I'm trying to do is use community to build on what we're doing. So
And did you have a personal goal? That's excellent.
I think for me, I was really interested to see if the changes that we made as a programming committee had the outcome we wanted. And to maybe summarize some of the things we did differently this year, we had welcome sessions for our track specifically.
They were amazing.
We had one for people live on Dynamics, one for people implementing or upgrading, and one for people who are new to the F&O space and want to know more.
So well received.
And like that, I thought went so well. I felt like we really teed up the conference for our people and like helped them know how to navigate it. And then the way we tried to structure the flow last year, there wasn't a ton of, there were 2 rooms for F&O and there wasn't a ton of rhyme or reason to who was where and why.
Sure, and when.
And sometimes there were even like kind of conflicting sessions.
Yes.
So this year we had 3 sessions at a time in parallel that would occur. So we decided to do 3 like sub tracks. We had one for supply chain and commerce, one for finance, HR, and project ops, and then one for kind of more platform technical topics. And then, you know, nothing ever works out 100% perfectly, but I felt like I thought we did a decent job of providing everybody at least one session that would be of interest and not providing too many, those ones are at the same time. I really wanted to go to both of them. So I hope that went well. And then, so we started with the kickoffs, then we did the what's new, and then we did a bunch of deep dives yesterday. And then for the beginning of today, we wrapped with the Ask the Experts.
Love it.
And I felt like that, I felt like the new flow we tried out this year went well. Like I thought, so as like a person who tried to have my mark on my little piece this year.
She had a big mark on it and volunteered a lot of time to make it very, very, very well thought out.
Now I'm uncomfortable.
No, sorry.
Thank you. Sorry. I guess what I'm supposed to say to this, thank you for the recognition, Molly. And I'm just so happy to see it go well. And like, you know, everybody gets kind of in their own head about like, is it going to work?
100%. We all do that.
So it was really nice to just kind of see the vision come to life.
Good.
How about you? Did you have a personal goal?
Oh, let's see. I'm being very mindful of Anne's time for her flight. Let's see. What was my personal goal? Oh, well, I did have a personal goal and I did achieve it. My goal was to really make sure that I personally connect with as many first-time attendees to DynamicsCon Live as possible. I think as our organization grows, as our community grows, I think it's really important to still stay very directly connected to these people that we're making a first impression on. And not only that, but just understand what they liked, what they'd love to see more of, and make it very comfortable and approachable. And not, certainly I'm just one person and it's, you know, as a personal goal, but just to emphasize that across my team, we want to make sure that all of them who are here, and we had many people who attended this year that were first-time conference attendees ever. They've never made it to a conference. Like, they just haven't had that opportunity in their career. So this was us making that impression, all of us, all of you, all of us making that impression for them, and just hearing that it was so welcoming and that people came up to me all week. And it was just one little blurb that I made just off the cuff in the opening session, like, please come say hi to Liz, our team, myself, introduce yourself, because we don't know exactly who all of you are, but you see us here right now. And it was just, let's make sure that we really portray that welcoming environment. And people really heard that. I was very surprised by that. So that was one goal. And just, again, I think, Anne, you've set the stage and the trajectory of what we need to do in all of those opening sessions, just to build on that. Every opening session at this conference, we had so stepping out of just the first time attendees, we had several first-time DynamicsCon Live attendees. So they might have attended a conference in our space before, but they heard that they should come check out DynamicsCon Live as well, which is fantastic. And so I think we can even build on that more for next year. I'm already planning in Chicago 2025.
Awesome.
Like, how do we do welcome sessions across every track, every room that we have a session in next year, to make sure, again, that we drill home that from Liz and my perspective, and John and Jake, our owners, that this really is community. This is supposed to be welcoming. This is supposed to be fun. And even today, which this made me almost cry, and we have a lot of like almost happy tear moments around here, which is great. But somebody rose their hand in a very filled session this morning, which is great to see on the last day. And they said, I know this is a really elementary question, but I feel comfortable enough to ask it, which is such a way, like they queued it up themselves. Yeah. And they said, I don't understand all the acronyms in my product line. Could we quickly talk about that? And what was great is everyone was like, oh, ha, 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 ha. We didn't know them for years. Like, it was terrible. Like, I'm so glad you asked it, because I was too afraid to ask it in the beginning. And I never asked, and I only hurt myself in my career because of it. So everyone really applauded that person. And I'm like, this is exactly what this is supposed to be.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I think it's really hard to ask those questions.
Right.
Like, can you give me the basic acronym? Because you feel, not that you know, but you feel like everyone knows so much more in the room than you. And everyone really applauded that person for, hey, we were all there and we wish we would have had the courage to ask, 1 month in instead of 2 years in, I still don't know this acronym. So that's what I love to hear. And then I loved also the other side of it. This is just an add-on. This was not a personal goal. But we have people who said, I'm ready to dive into level 1000 into the advanced expert kind of topics. And so we've got a few of those here. And so trying to find that balance, and you guys will help us with that next year, hopefully. Just finding that balance. And
so I'd love to actually ask you about next year. Like, let's get, if you don't mind sharing with our viewers, what are the major changes or differences that you might see next year? Like,
great question.
Yeah.
So we're in Chicago, Illinois, so we're not in Rachel's backyard next year, which is one big change.
But we're really close to my hometown, so I'll get to go home and visit family.
Oh, that's fantastic. Gosh. Okay, good. So we still have lots of Rachel. So Chicago, I think we're going to be bigger. I think we've just received a lot of positive feedback. We literally read every survey that we get back and take it into account and into our decision making. Other than that, I think that one big thing that came out of this conference, even before we all got on site, was doing a better labeling system of sessions, well beyond just your product focus, but session content level. What industries does this apply to? Things like that. I think we need to roles, things like that. I think we really need to better identify sessions, because I think, Anne, you were trying to cue that up in your room yourself, and just knowing that that's beneficial to people. So how do we apply that to sessions across the board next year? So that's one change that we're definitely going to make.
I heard you're going to have a more like traditional expo hall.
Yes, we will have a full expo hall. So it's crazy to say, but gone are the days with 6-foot tables outside of session rooms. We are going to have an expo hall. Yes, a dedicated expo hall with dedicated expo hours for all of you that are watching. That's been a big thing this week as well. And then I have to just say, like, to our planning credit and our committee and our volunteers, we like to be very nimble, and we like to make changes later and just absorb what went well here, what didn't, and then we are a smaller organization and we have that ability to be like, oh, nope, that stunk. We're not doing that again at the last minute. Or, oh, hey, Denise, shout out to Denise and her event team.
100%.
Rocked the logistics this week at DynamicsCon Live. So just, hey, Denise, I was literally doing this until the day we left. We're going to do this now instead or that. And just, again, like really hearing what people need and what they want. So I love that we're able to do that.
Yeah, I something we talked about yesterday that I thought was cool too was like Doug launched the mentorship program. This year.
Yes. 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. I'll be speedy.
No, you're great.
Doug launched the mentorship program this year, and then yesterday I kind of like I loved how I watched that conversation evolve. Where how do we incorporate mentorship into speaking at events?
Yes. Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that really comes to life. But I think
me too.
We had a lot of we had for sure first time DynamicsCon speakers, lots of them.
64%.
And we also shout out to Carol because it was so Carol Sykes did she did two sessions, I think. Yes. So Carol and I go way back. This was her first ever conference session, like conference speaking.
Yes.
And she's brilliant. And so like we had lots of those first timer speakers, period.
Yes.
And she rocked it, by the way. No surprises to anyone.
No surprise here.
Yeah. So I love, I don't know, like all the stuff you do at Doug, how you fold it in kind of together. And like, I'm looking forward to see how that continues to evolve.
And you correct me if I'm wrong here, Anne, because you've known Carol as a great example for years. And I think she approached us and said, I was told this is a good place to start if I'm maybe interested in speaking. And we actually had Carol, her situation's great. We said, why don't you do a webinar? It's a great practice run. Like it just kind of gets your feet wet on, presenting and you're all, but you're by yourself and see how you feel. And her webinar had something like 200 registrations or something.
That's amazing.
So
it was like a level 300, 400 about bombs and routes.
Yes, it was incredible.
It was great content.
So much interest. And I think a lot of us just kind of rallied around her and said, Carol, you can do this. Like, you know what you're talking about.
Brilliant. I mean, she used to be a teacher for many years as well.
I didn't know that.
So,
okay, so she's a born presenter
with
a lot of distraction in the room.
She's very good at the corralling. And,
Yes.
No, I thought that. I remember that. I thought that was great. That is actually the exact same way that I dipped my toe into community.
Yes.
So shout out to AXUG for hosting my first ever webinar.
Absolutely.
Before I did it was
absolutely.
I got accepted for sessions at Summit. And we did them as webinars ahead of time so I could practice and get comfortable.
That's awesome.
So
that's
I love
a great
that
idea,
approach.
actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
And
then you get content that's available to people who aren't able to attend in person.
Love that. I thought that's a great way to just, again, connecting the community as a whole too, because not everybody can go to these events.
Yeah.
And then to your question about the mentorship program, just to circle back to that, yes, I think it's a really important opportunity either to use the mentorship program that's already in place at Doug or something like it to make sure that those first-time speakers or anyone who wants to be a first-time speaker, we want to make sure that you feel welcome and you've got a good coach or whatever you need. And the mentorship program might be a good avenue for that. Maybe it's not a good fit. We'll figure it out. Again, we're nimble. We find out what works best for people.
I did. I'll put this plug out there. One of the best sessions I went to was customer-led, user-led. So if you are an end user, we want you to be okay. And we want you not like Uncle Sam, but users provide such an amazing perspective because it's kind of like the real full truth that other users can really benefit from. So if you are an end user of any Dynamics product or Power Platform product, I highly recommend that you submit a session. And if you are a first-time speaker and you're nervous about it, use the community, use the mentorship program
100%.
To help, maybe find a partner or a Microsoft employee who wants to do it with you. But like some of the best sessions I went to absolutely were customer or user led. And it's just like such a unique perspective that's so valuable.
Always. And I even watched a user present late this afternoon and you could tell there was just full rows of users in the front. They're like, that's what I do-ish. And it's enough where it's like, that's my day job. And so you just see how connectable and relatable that is. I love that.
100%.
Absolutely.
What else, ladies?
Well, I've sat over here quietly for the
I'm
last.
sorry.
It's fine. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay,
But I've
Rachel.
had like
You're
3
up.
moments
All right.
in this conversation that I like wanted to be like super rude and interrupt. There was like a stop, collaborate, and
Okay.
listen moment, but I didn't do it.
Well, let's hear all three.
Here.
Way to put me on the spot.
So we
You're
talked
welcome.
about track flows. We talked about
Oh, the flows
There we go.
was one of them because
Okay, cool.
it reminded me of the time that I got on stage and did a rap about
Oh
power
my
automated flows.
gosh.
Do
Oh
you
my
guys
gosh.
Yes.
remember that?
Epic.
Oh,
Epic.
And then what was the third one? I'm trying to remember what the other one was, but it was a pun.
Oh, it was a pun.
Like it was another pun. But I can't remember. It
You
wasn't.
need-
It was earlier in the conversation. So maybe I'm just going to share. It's maybe a little bit off topic, but
Yeah,
like I
that's-
brought my dog
Top
Oberon.
of mind. That's who I've been
He's
smiling
like
at. as you see
sleeping
me.
over there on the
Yeah,
floor.
he's
He was
sweet.
interested at first, and then we weren't paying any attention to him, and so he
He's
kind
out.
of went away.
He's napping.
But it's the first time that I've ever brought my dog as a service animal to a conference, and I think it's been a very interesting experience. One for me, I think like he's super helpful to me in a lot of ways, like in terms of grounding me. And when I get super stressed or uncomfortable, I tend to start to disassociate.
Sure.
And so he's being trained to do pressure-based tasks, and he keeps me on task. And if he has to go to the bathroom, it reminds me that I have to go to the bathroom.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's also been super cool to kind of see how the community has embraced him and
He's
asked
one of
questions
us.
and like the curiosity. I
Yeah.
think like it's okay to ask questions.
Yes.
And definitely a few people have asked questions and like being respectful of his
Don't pet
vest.
me.
Don't pet me.
Most-
It's okay. I gave you permission.
I did
to
ask
pet
first.
him. You did ask first.
Do they make those vests for people?
I'm sure we could. Like
so
they're just
many
Velcro.
people by day 3 might want one.
Just like 3 feet, please. 6 feet, please.
6
Yeah.
feet, please. Oh, that's funny.
But I
love
think
that.
like that, it was a really cool experience, and another way that I was able to connect with community this
Yeah.
week.
Special way.
And yeah, like it was a new experience, but and I was nervous about it because I was like, I don't know, like is this like the worst idea I've ever had to like try to bring my dog to a conference? And he's still a puppy, so he's still learning his skills.
How
but
much
he
does
did-
he weigh?
giant
How,
is still a
how much?
puppy.
How much is your 9-pound or
9 month-
9-month-old dog weigh?
He's probably about 120 to 130 pounds.
So
It's like a full-size adult.
Yeah.
He's about
Such a big
32
dog.
inches tall at his
He's a good boy.
shoulders.
Oh my goodness.
So and
That's
he's
a
still
big
got
puppy.
it's a very big puppy, but he did great, and you all did great too. So thanks for being so great and making it be an okay place to be vulnerable and bring my service animal and
An inclusive community of all types.
Yeah,
I
for
love
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. That's so much.
well, we have 2 minutes left. Any closing thoughts?
The Wi-Fi situation, Molly, was a little rough.
Yeah.
I think we can
Rough.
acknowledge.
No pun intended. Rough.
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 If I could make him bark on cue,
I
I would
know,
totally
it's
do
like rough,
that.
rough.
It's not one of his skills.
Yeah. Yes.
But I will say, I think that the community does a good job pivoting. So
They sure did, yes. And I think just having more accessible technology, unfortunately, to be like your personal hotspot or whatever it is, really saved us. But yes,
Yeah.
it was rough. So yeah.
Rough.
but if that's the worst thing, I think you
Well,
put
it's
on
kind
a
of
pretty
a
good
big thing. But yes,
But
thank
But
you.
it's also not 100% in your control either. So I think we're maybe more understanding. I think we blame the hotel more than we're not blaming you.
Well, thanks to the hotel for hosting us.
Yes, thank you to Marriott for hosting us.
for hosting us. Yes.
It's not like it was free though.
No.
Like they
but,
got paid.
No, this is true.
That was
I will
not
say.
the issue though. So
Yeah.
Right.
yes, powers that be, but Chicago.
Chicago.
We live and
downtown.
learn.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Google Fiber by the
Yes.
time it's installed for Chicago.
Yes. Well, thank you, Anne, and thank you, Rachel, for having me.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us,
you so
Molly, and
much.
thank you and your amazing team for putting on
They are amazing.
such a wonderful event.
My whole team is amazing. They made all of this happen this week. So
Shout
out to
Doug.
them. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you again, ladies, for having me as your first repeat guest.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
I hope you had a
Bye,
great time,
everyone.
or we'll
See you
see you next
soon.
year.